Namaskar viewers, hello and welcome to this special telecast on Sansad TV. I am Tina Jha, with me is my colleague Manoj Verma. So the contest for India's second highest constitutional post has now reached its decisive moment. Voting for the vice presidential elections concluded at 5 p.m. and while the official results are awaited, the writing clearly seems to be on the wall. The ruling NDA is firmly in command, the numbers stacked up in its favor. Its candidate, veteran leader from Tamil Nadu and Maharashtra's governor, C.P. Radhakrishnan, he appears poised to step into the role of the Vice President of India. The press conference is awaited any moment from now, declaring the results. So the number of votes polled, the winning margin, etc. is something that we will know in a short while from now as we await the results. Let's also talk about how this election has been about more than just the arithmetic. It's as much about strategy in candidate selection. We've discussed this through the proceedings and through the coverage on Sansad TV about the 17th vice presidential election. Also the message that both the ruling alliance as well as the opposition bloc have tried to send across the political spectrum. More importantly, it's about the experience and the weight of expectations from the man who will preside over the Rajya Sabha. Manoj.
जी बिल्कुल, संसद टीवी के विशेष प्रसारण में आपका स्वागत है। आप देख रहे हैं उपराष्ट्रपति चुनाव पर संसद टीवी का सीधा प्रसारण। आपको बता दें कि उपराष्ट्रपति चुनाव के लिए मंगलवार को मतदान संपन्न हो गया। सुबह 10 बजे मतदान शुरू हुआ और शाम 5 बजे तक चला। शाम 6 बजे से मतगणना शुरू हो गई है। उपराष्ट्रपति चुनाव में राष्ट्रीय जनतांत्रिक गठबंधन एनडीए के उम्मीदवार सीपी राधाकृष्णन और विपक्ष के उम्मीदवार बी सुदर्शन रेड्डी के बीच सीधा मुकाबला है। चुनाव में लोकसभा और राज्यसभा के कुल 781 सांसदों को वोट देने का अधिकार था। प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी, गृह मंत्री अमित शाह, लोकसभा अध्यक्ष ओम बिरला जी, भाजपा अध्यक्ष जेपी नड्डा, राज्यसभा के उपसभापति हरिवंश जी, विपक्ष के नेता राहुल गांधी, कांग्रेस अध्यक्ष मल्लिकार्जुन खड़गे आदि सहित सभी प्रमुख नेताओं और उनके दलों के सदस्यों ने मतदान में भाग लिया। जाहिर सी बात है, उपराष्ट्रपति चुनाव पर पूरे देश की निगाहें लगी हैं। टीना,
Certainly. So what the numbers will be, I mean, how many votes have been polled, what the winning margin is compared to the previous elections to the office of the Vice President is something that we will know as soon as the press conference from the returning officer begins. But let me welcome two of our guests who are now joining us on this telecast to discuss the various aspects of significance related to this 17th Vice Presidential election. Two guests joining us virtually. It gives me immense pleasure to welcome on this broadcast senior journalist Mr. Sanjay Singh and Professor Himanshu Prasad Roy, Center for Political Studies, School of Social Sciences, Jawaharlal Nehru University. Thank you, gentlemen, for joining us on the broadcast today. Significant day for the Indian democracy, more so because it's, even though the writing is on the wall, the numbers stacked in favor of the NDA. Professor, there is a larger message about the political strategy, about the selection of the candidate, and about the beauty of democracy, wherein you see all the elected representatives who we have chosen to sit in the parliament line up today to now elect the Vice President of India. So let me begin with your first thoughts, Professor Roy, on how do you read the 17th Vice Presidential elections and the selection strategy, both by the ruling NDA as well as the opposition alliance?
I would say Prime Minister Modi's selection in the candidates are a master stroke, has always been, whether selecting the candidature of ex-president Kovind, selecting the candidature of now the president, who is the president, the supreme of the country, and the vice president, now the candidate, even earlier Dhankar Sahab. So he is the master strategist in selecting the candidates. It sends a message, definitely a message. The message is from South India. The message is to South India. Tamil Nadu, Kerala, etc. is one of the crucial states where the candidature will factored into in the forthcoming elections, state assembly elections, whenever it happens. Then he is a member of the, he has been a part of the Parivar much earlier, and he is the member of the existing governor. He is the existing governor. So all these factors count into it. Sends definitely a message. This is one. The second message is that despite coalition of NDA and the BJP not dominating as the single largest party, the dominance of the NDA is the message travel that it dominates. The NDA as a coalition dominates. The leadership of the Prime Minister dominates. And if the opposition thinks that this is the occasion to be used by them to neutralize or send a message to Prime Minister Modi, to NDA alliance, that they can be subdued, this is to be neutralized. So these two messages that at this moment is important.
Absolutely, you're right. And as we await the results, we'll get to know what the winning margin will be. So we've discussed the arithmetic through the day, the numbers in favor of the NDA candidate, the number also in favor of the opposition alliance. But Mr. Singh, I'll take the same question to you, because when it comes to nominations for elections, for high-profile elections, especially in context of the presidential election, the vice presidential election, the choice of candidates often depends on symbolism, the larger political message. In this case, what is the most significant message for you?
I think the most significant message is be a low-key worker, be rooted to the ground, and your works will speak for yourself. That's the central message that comes out from selection of vice presidential candidate. The other factor is, as Himanshu ji was saying, he is from Tamil Nadu. And there is a larger message involved in this, because as we know, there are certain political statements on issues which there should not have been any controversies. The ruling dispensation in Tamil Nadu tried to manufacture some kind of controversy. In that context, elevation of a candidate from there, who is also Maharashtra governor, has been a legislator, has been a parliamentarian. That's very important. He has experience, all kinds of experience, and has never been in any controversy, and that makes his nomination. And most likely in half an hour or so, we'll get to know that he is vice president elect for now, till such time he is given oath of office. And if you look at it, the numbers, of course, the number was never in question. The win or defeat was never in question. I recall a very difficult, slightly difficult election from this. Manoj would also remember election of Bhairav Singh Shekhawat, when NDA did not exactly have this kind of majority. Right. And then it was speculated that whether Bhairav Singh Shekhawat would make it to that highest post. And Bhairav Singh Shekhawat won handsomely. My only curiosity when the election results are announced will be to see as to how many votes are polled in favor of the NDA candidates and how many votes are polled in favor of India Bloc candidate. It looks like to me, as has happened in the past, that NDA numbers will swell more than what is the number perceived or calculated by various by any calculation.
जी बिल्कुल संजय जी, आपने सही कहा कि जिस तरह से हमारी जो संसदीय लोकतंत्र की यात्रा रही है, उसमें राष्ट्रपति पद के लिए चुनाव होता आया है। आप संसदीय लोकतंत्र की दृष्टि से इस पद के जो दायित्व हैं, जो कार्य हैं, उसको कैसे देखते हैं? कितना महत्वपूर्ण है संसदीय लोकतंत्र की दृष्टि से उपराष्ट्रपति का पद?
देखिए मनोज, ये बहुत ही महत्वपूर्ण है, क्योंकि आप वो वाइस प्रेसिडेंट होते हैं, एक दायित्व तो उनका वो होता है कि किसी कारण से अगर राष्ट्रपति अनुपस्थित हुए तो उस समय उनका कार्यभार टेम्पररी रूप में चलाना। लेकिन उससे ज्यादा इंपॉर्टेंट होता है कि वो चेयरमैन राज्यसभा होते हैं, और चेयरमैन राज्यसभा के नाते वो पोस्ट काफी एलिवेटेड, मतलब एक काफी सम्मान का, और एज इट इज आप देखिएगा संसदीय संविधान के हिसाब से तो वो देश के नंबर 2 सिटीजन, दूसरे वो सिटीजन होते हैं। संसद की जो परंपरा है, जो चेयरमैन का पोस्ट है, वो काफी क्रिटिकल है, और इस समय में जब वो आ रहे हैं उस समय और भी वो क्रिटिकल हो जाता है। वो इसलिए कि हमने पिछले कुछ समय में देखा है कि राज्यसभा का जो स्वरूप जो संविधान निर्माताओं ने सोचा था, उससे हट करके पिछले कुछ समय से, कुछ मतलब कई सालों से, और ये थोड़ा दर्द भी होता है एक नागरिक होने के कारण और एक व्यक्ति जो संसद की प्रोसीडिंग्स को काफी क्लोजली फॉलो करता है, कि वो उस नाते एक ऐसा हाउस बनाया गया था कि लोकसभा में जब चुन करके आते हैं तो कई बार वो अपने जो उनकी कंस्टिट्यूएंसी होती है उसके प्रति उनका वो एक उत्तरदायित्व होता है, और कई बार अगर लोकसभा में कोई हेस्टी डिसीजन लिया जा रहा हो तो राज्यसभा में उस पर ज्यादा गंभीरता से विचार हो, क्योंकि उनके जो मेंबर्स हैं वो किसी एक कोई सोशल कंस्टिट्यूएंट की तरफ उनका उत्तरदायित्व नहीं होता है। ये अनफॉर्चुनेटली बहुत सालों से नहीं हुआ, और एक समय में एक ऐसी भी बात चल रही थी जिस समय कि राज्यसभा के पूरे रेलेवेंस पे एक सवाल उठ रहा था, क्योंकि वो टिरानी ऑफ अनइलेक्टेड की बात कही जा रही थी। बहरहाल अब मसला उससे आगे बढ़ गया है। जब उससे आगे ये मसला बढ़ गया है तो अभी जब वो आ रहे हैं तो एक अनप्रेसिडेंटेड सिचुएशन हुई थी जिसमें कि धनखड़ साहब ने अपने स्वास्थ्य संबंधी कारणों के कारण इस्तीफा दिया और ये पद रिक्त हुआ है। अब ये पद रिक्त हुआ है तो एक चीज दर्शकों के लिए, क्लैरिटी के लिए और भी जरूरी है, जो कई बार आप लोगों ने बताया भी है, कि ये उनका पद 5 साल का कार्यभार होगा, न कि जो रिमाइंडर पीरियड है उसके लिए। तो इस समय में जब वो आ रहे हैं और उनका ये होगा कि एक बाकी जो हमारी संसदीय परंपरा जो एस्टैब्लिश थी या राज्यसभा की एक जो गरिमा थी, उस गरिमा को रेस्टोर करने के दिशा में वो कार्य करना।
Sure. Given his experience and the strengths that Mr. Radhakrishnan will bring about and especially that will help him in conducting the proceedings in Rajya Sabha, because remember, the Vice President of India is also the ex officio chairman of the upper house, the House of Elders, the Rajya Sabha as we know it better. But before we discuss and get into that aspect, Professor Roy, I have a question also on the larger political message. You spoke about two aspects. One, the fact that Mr. Radhakrishnan has an impeccable career, political career spanning 4 decades. He's a 2-term MP as well from Coimbatore, and the fact that he's served as governor in several states. Of course, he has an illustrious career. But also the fact that he's a man of no controversy, something that Mr. Singh pointed about. This is something that earned him the title of Vajpayee of Coimbatore. So how will that help him in presiding over the Rajya Sabha? That is something that we will talk about. But you spoke about another important aspect related to the political messaging by the NDA alliance in strengthening BJP's prospects in the state of Tamil Nadu. Now, we've all seen the consistent efforts that the BJP has been trying to make to expand its footprint in the state of Tamil Nadu. How is the selection of Mr. Radhakrishnan going to add value or strength to the BJP's prospects?
Definitely, that may say these are constitutional posts, but it sends a message, a political message, that Tamil Nadu, despite not electing number of MPs or MLAs of the BJP, still we care for you. And this caring nature of the BJP, and in particular the Prime Minister Modi, because it's he who finally decides or who has decided the selection of the vice presidential candidate who will be shortly, should be a vice president designate or elect. In that case, the political message is very clear that we care for you. And it's time for you, the citizens of Tamil Nadu, to think of voting for the BJP in the next parliamentary elections or in the next assembly elections. And given the kind of alliance that the BJP has formed in Tamil Nadu, there may be a possibility that the BJP may get into the power if all their hard works and persistence, and with this message, if it is acceptable to the larger public or the electorate, then there is a very positive kind of impact it will be have. But that is yet to be seen. And the man in himself has been part of the Sangh Parivar, as I said earlier, from the very beginning. So it gives boost to the cadres as well, to the BJP cadres and to the field workers, that here is a party and here is a man who belongs to us, and they look forward to him for a succor, for leadership, for messaging, etc. in the political mobilization. So the cadres gets galvanized, and then the possibility of, if the cadres get galvanized, then the possibility of winning the at least assembly election, some municipal elections in the some centers, some village panchayat elections.
Sorry to interrupt you, Professor Roy. We are getting in visuals. The counting of votes is currently underway. Viewers, you can have a look at those visuals. The voting started at 9 a.m. this morning, at 10 a.m. I beg your pardon, continued till 5 p.m. Now the counting of votes is underway. In a few minutes from now, we will expect the returning officer to brief the media and declare the results about who the next Vice President of India is going to be. So as the counting is underway and we expect the results, I'll proceed with the discussion. The point that Mr. Roy was making, Professor Roy was making, I'll take that to Mr. Singh in terms of the larger messaging, but also the fact that the selection sends out a message. Mr. Singh, we've spoken about Mr. Radhakrishnan, but the choice of candidate, the selection of candidate by the opposition alliance, Justice Reddy, he's also, of course, served as a Supreme Court judge, also as the, Chief Justice in the Andhra High Court. He too has an impeccable career in judiciary. But given that the numbers were clearly stacked in favor of the NDA, despite that, the opposition wanted to give a message that they do not want to give a free pass to the ruling alliance. What is the message that you see the opposition alliance actually sending out to the wider political spectrum by selecting Justice Reddy as a candidate for the vice presidential post?
See, it was the NDA which announced its candidate as C.P. Radhakrishnan. They were the first to announce the candidate. And thereafter, Mr. Sudarshan Reddy's name was announced by the India Bloc. The problem here is, as and when the presidential or vice presidential or any other election of importance takes place, the opposition, Congress-led India Alliance, they start calling this is Battle of Idea of India. And every time they, unfortunately, they lose in all those elections. So what do you mean to convey? That idea of India has lost, or whatever is your idea of India? That again is a very contentious point here. And there's so many contradictions, inherent contradictions there. The choice of Mr. Reddy, former justice, was they chose somebody from the south. In this case, if Mr. Radhakrishnan was a Tamil, they chose a Telugu, and therefore they wanted to drive some kind of sentiment, Telugu sentiment. And of course, in the campaigning, you also saw not only the Congress leaders, but also Chief Minister of Telangana actively campaigning for him. And they also tried to convince Andhra Pradesh Chief Minister and political parties from Andhra Pradesh and Telangana to vote for Mr. Reddy. The problem here was, if not anything else, if you remember, Andhra Pradesh, Telangana, and Chhattisgarh and Maharashtra and other adjoining areas were heavily impacted by Naxalism. Now, of all his pronouncements as Andhra Pradesh Chief Justice and Justice Supreme Court, Salva Judum verdict was a landmark judgment, and that judgment was had not gone down with the people at large, security forces to say the least, and that somehow actually helped the Naxal forces and their backers, urban Naxals, as the ruling dispensation says. That actually is somewhat a very uncomfortable thing when the BJP, more so Home Minister Mr. Amit Shah, raised a question about it, and also he had no answer. Then there were a few former retired judges, some prominent lawyers. They wrote a letter, an open letter, saying that this is very wrong, as to he's a former justice and his past credentials and whatever his judgments are should not be discussed here. Now, if you enter into public life, as long as you are a judge, you are honorable man, and there is issue of contempt, but judgments have been criticized, if not the judges.
Right.
When you are you are out of service and you are into politics, of course, those questions will be asked. Lastly, a few days ago, he went to Patna and met Lalu Prasad Yadav, and a picture that was to be naturally objected, and BJP raised an objection about it. So did some other people. Lalu Prasad Yadav, as we know, is convicted in several cases. And a former Chief Justice, when on one hand you say that you're former Chief Justice and your supporters say you're former Justice Supreme Court and your credentials are impeccable, and then again, when you are going there, please clarify as to if you keep aside your former justice's credential and you are now like any other politician who is fighting for a public post. There, I think the NDA erred, the India bloc erred in its judgment.
जी संजय जी, मैं आपसे ये समझना चाहता हूं, क्योंकि दोनों ही जो उम्मीदवार हैं, अगर बात हम एनडीए उम्मीदवार की करें तो सीपी राधाकृष्णन जी का जो राजनीतिक कैरियर रहा है वो खासा लंबा रहा है। बचपन से वो राष्ट्रीय स्वयंसेवक संघ के कार्यकर्ता के रूप में, स्वयंसेवक के रूप में समाज सेवा करते रहे। फिर राजनीति में भी उनका तमिलनाडु से लेकर सांसद सदस्य तक और भाजपा की राजनीति में, संगठन में भी उनकी काफी महत्वपूर्ण भूमिका रही है। दूसरी तरफ जो सुदर्शन रेड्डी हैं, नॉन पॉलिटिकल कैंडिडेट, इंडिया गठबंधन के कांग्रेस पार्टी ने और दूसरे दलों ने मिलकर उनको विपक्ष का उम्मीदवार बनाया। इसके पीछे क्या वजह थी? अगर आइडियोलॉजी की लड़ाई की बात कही जाती है तो उसमें नॉन पॉलिटिकल कैंडिडेट को लाना कहीं ना कहीं, क्योंकि कई सारे सवाल उठ रहे थे कि किसी एक दल का ना हो, विपक्ष खेमे में इस तरह के कई सवाल थे कि पॉलिटिकल व्यक्ति ना हो, नॉन पॉलिटिकल क्यों?
देखिए मनोज, आपने बड़ा अच्छा सवाल पूछा है। एक तो पहले राधाकृष्णन साहब के बारे में कि एक अगर आप ब्रॉडली देखेंगे तो संघ की परंपरा से जो निकले हुए व्यक्ति हैं और जो पर्टिकुलरली संगठन का काम करते हैं या कई क्षेत्रों में काम करते हैं, उनके बारे में एक चीज जो काफी प्रोमिनेंस के साथ आती है वो है ऑस्टेरिटी, और दूसरी सरलता, जो लोगों से मिलने की एक सरलता होती है, वो चीज काफी प्रखर रूप से सामने आती है। और इनका भी कार्य में कहीं भी किसी तरह का, इतने समय से ये पब्लिक लाइफ में है, और जैसा प्रधानमंत्री मोदी जी ने उनके साथ अपने किए गए काम के बारे में बताया था और कितना लंबा समय का उनका कामराडरी है उसके बारे में बताया था, तो आप देखेंगे इतने लंबे समय में किसी भी तरह की उनके पीछे कोई कंट्रोवर्सी नहीं। बीजेपी इस बार एक चीज क्लियर हो गई थी कि इस बार कोई जो उपराष्ट्रपति के उम्मीदवार होंगे वो उनके ही अंदर के कोई व्यक्ति होंगे जो उनके जो पार्टी के हों। और हम सभी जानते हैं कि एक बार जब आप वीपी बन जाते हैं तब आप किसी भी पार्टी या दल या स्पीकर का भी जो पद है या डिप्टी स्पीकर का जो पद है या यहीं पे जब डिप्टी चेयरमैन के पद पे आप जाकर के बैठते हैं तो वो पार्टी लाइन के ऊपर चला जाता है। हैविंग सेड सो, वो होने के बावजूद तो एक तरफ उनका इस तरह का कैंडिडेचर था और दूसरा एक जो मैसेजिंग होता है, हर बार इस तरह का जब किसी व्यक्ति का चयन होता है तो एक लार्जर पॉलिटिकल मैसेजिंग होती है। उसके साथ आप एक तरह का, क्योंकि जो लोग सरकार में बैठे हुए निर्णय लेते हैं वो राजनीतिक लोग हैं और जो एक सोशल कंस्टिट्यूएंसी जिसको मैं कहता हूं उसको एड्रेस भी करना होता है तो उसको भी वो एड्रेस करते हैं। दूसरी तरफ आप जो रेड्डी साहब की बात कर रहे हैं, जस्टिस रेड्डी की, जो उनका सिलेक्शन हुआ, एक तो ये है कि उनके बीच में अगर कोई पॉलिटिकल सिलेक्शन होता, जैसे इधर आपने देखा होगा जो सिलेक्शन जब भी हुए तो एक तो मुश्किल होता है, दूसरा ये होता है कि कई बार जब उम्मीदवार को मालूम होता है कि हम हारने के लिए लड़ रहे हैं तो कई लोग नकार देते हैं, वो सामने नहीं आते। ऐसा भी कई बार हुआ है कि आपको दूसरे या तीसरे या चौथे व्यक्ति के पास जाना पड़ रहा है कि आप चुनाव लड़ लीजिए। ऐसे में अगर मैं ये कहने की धृष्टता करूं कि किसी को हारने के लिए मनाना भी आसान काम नहीं होता है, कि आप जानते हैं कि हार ही रहे हैं, कुछ दिन के लिए आप लाइमलाइट में आएंगे, सुर्खियों में आएंगे और उसके बाद आप बहुत आसानी से भूल जाएंगे। अगर मैं आज पूछूं कि पिछले जो इंडिया ब्लॉक के राष्ट्रपति के, उपराष्ट्रपति के 2 बार के कौन थे कैंडिडेट, तो बहुत कम लोग को ही याद होगा।
जी।
इक्के दुक्के लोग को याद होगा। तो ऐसी स्थिति में किसी ऐसे व्यक्ति को चुनना पहला एक मुश्किल काम होता है कि उनको आप चुने। दूसरा, राजनीतिक तौर पे अगर आप किसी एक को चुनते तो जिस समय आप ये कोशिश कर रहे हैं कि मोदी सरकार और बीजेपी के खिलाफ सारे दलों का हम एकजुट करें, उनके अंदर इतने सारे विरोधाभास हैं उसको दूर रख करके हम करें, तो शायद किसी भी पॉलिटिकल पार्टी के एक कैंडिडेट पे सहमति नहीं बनती। आपने देखा होगा कि बड़ी मुश्किल से पिछले बार यशवंत सिन्हा को खोज करके किसी तरह से वो कैंडिडेट राष्ट्रपति के चुनाव में बनाया गया, जिससे मतलब कई लोग की समस्या थी, लेकिन चलिए हो गए। तो इस बार इस समस्या को दूर करने के लिए उन्होंने किसी नॉन पॉलिटिकल व्यक्ति को खोजा। अब कोई व्यक्ति तमिलनाडु से हो, साउथ इंडिया से हो। अब ये भी है कि इन्होंने अभी जो तेलंगाना ने एक कमेटी बनाई थी, उस कमेटी की मेरे ख्याल से अध्यक्षता इन्होंने की थी, जो उन्होंने कोई सर्वे वो किया था, उसकी उनको अध्यक्ष भी बनाया था। तो उनके साथ मेरे ख्याल में एक्टिव कांटेक्ट में कुछ लोग रहे होंगे, और एक लार्जर मैसेज ये पब्लिक को देना चाहते थे कि जब हम हाथ में लाल किताब लेकर के जब दिखाते हैं कि देखो हम संविधान के जो, क्योंकि सुप्रीम कोर्ट कस्टोडियन कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन का माना जाता है, तो शायद वो एक नैरेटिव बिल्ड करना चाहते थे कि हम ऐसे व्यक्ति को ला रहे हैं जिस समय हम मतलब उनके आर्गुमेंट के हिसाब से, उनके आरोप के हिसाब से संविधान खतरे में है और बाकी तमाम चीजें हैं, तो उपराष्ट्रपति के लिए हम ऐसे एक व्यक्ति को लेकर के
You're right. It's important that, and that's perhaps the beauty of democracy, that even though you expect what the outcome is going to be, it's about the messaging, the strategy that you want not just the political parties to understand, but also your voter in terms of what the messaging is. I think that's the most critical aspect. Two interesting observations, Manoj, from what Mr. Singh was suggesting, that the Telugu parties pledged support to the candidate from Tamil Nadu, whereas the ruling party in Tamil Nadu pledged support to the person who hails from Andhra Pradesh, the Telugu-speaking person. So that's the interesting thing about this 17th vice presidential election, the result of the direct contest between Mr. Radhakrishnan, the NDA candidate, and yes, Mr. Singh.
You said Telugu parties. TDP is in support of the NDA candidate and BRS has abstained. So it is now only the Congress which is supporting.
No, the YSR Congress also, sir. You forgot the YSR Congress. So two of the major parties, the Telugu-speaking parties, in support of the candidate from Tamil Nadu. So I think that's an interesting thing. We were discussing about the beauty of democracy and looking at how the elected representatives, the members of parliament were voting today. We will continue with our discussion, but you can see on the screen the Secretary General of Rajya Sabha, the returning officer of the 17th vice presidential election. Now on the podium, he will be addressing the media and he will be declaring the results as well of the 17th vice presidential election.
Good evening, friends. Notice for the 17th election to the office of Vice President of India was issued on 7th August 2025. In all, 68 nomination papers were received till the last date for submission of nomination papers. After scrutiny, nomination papers filed by Shri Bucci Reddy Sudarshan Reddy and Shri C.P. Radhakrishnan were found valid. As you are aware, in the vice presidential election, all members of parliament, including the nominated members, are eligible to cast their votes. There are 788 electors, 245 from Rajya Sabha and 543 from Lok Sabha. There are 6 vacancies in Rajya Sabha and 1 vacancy in Lok Sabha. Thus, there are 781 electors. The polling for the Vice Presidential Election 2025, which commenced at 10 a.m. today, the 9th of September 2025, in room number F101 Vasudha, first floor, Parliament House, New Delhi, closed at 5 p.m. Out of the 781 electors, 767 electors cast their votes before closure of the poll, that is 5 p.m. The total elector turnout was accordingly 98.2%. Only one ballot box was used for the poll, which was sealed immediately after the close of poll at 5 p.m. in the presence of the authorized representatives of the contesting candidates and election observers. The counting of votes commenced at 6 p.m. The ballot box was opened in the presence of the authorized representatives of the contesting candidates, election observers, and the counting officers, whom I had appointed to assist me in counting of votes. The ballot papers taken out were first scrutinized. The valid and invalid ballot papers and one postal ballot paper was also received, were segregated, and the valid ballot papers were distributed according to the first preference vote secured by each candidate. The postal ballot has been treated as returned and cancelled, as the elector declined to cast his vote. 767 votes were polled, out of which 752 were valid and 15 were invalid. The quota sufficient to get a candidate elected as vice president was determined by dividing the total number of first preference votes secured by both the candidates by 2 and then adding 1 to the quotient. The said quota was 377. As all of you are aware, the value of votes for the presidential election is 1. Shri Bucci Reddy Sudarshan Reddy has secured 300 first preference votes, and Shri C.P. Radhakrishnan has secured 452 first preference votes. As the first preference votes secured by Shri C.P. Radhakrishnan was greater than the requisite quota, in pursuance of provisions contained in Section 11 of the Presidential and Vice Presidential Elections Act 1952, 31 of 1952, read with Rule 35 of the Presidential and Vice Presidential Election Rules 1974, I, P.C. Modi, the returning officer for the Vice Presidential Election 2025, hereby declare that Shri C.P. Radhakrishnan, Jal Bhushan Raj Bhavan, Walkeshwar Road, Malabar Hill, Mumbai, has been duly elected to the office of Vice President of India. The result is being sent to the Election Commission of India and the Ministry of Law and Justice as per the extant provisions under Section 12 of the Presidential and Vice Presidential Election Act 1952 and Rule 35 of the Presidential and Vice Presidential Election Rules 1974. Overall, the 17th Vice Presidential election was conducted in a free, fair, and orderly manner. I would like to take this opportunity to thank the candidates and their authorized representatives for their cooperation, which facilitated early completion of the proceedings. Thank you. एक सेकंड दे दो। आप चाहते हैं पूरा पढ़ूं या सिर्फ भर देते श्री बुच्ची रेड्डी सुदर्शन रेड्डी को
377 यहाँ पे 377 है, यहाँ
एक से
कोटा
300
रेड्डी को 300,
एक सेकंड
राधा कृष्णन जी को 452,
श्री बुच्ची रेड्डी सुदर्शन रेड्डी को 300 प्रथम वरीयता के मत प्राप्त हुए और श्री सीपी राधाकृष्णन को 452 प्रथम वरीयता के मत प्राप्त हुए। चूंकि श्री सीपी राधाकृष्णन को अपेक्षित कोटे से अधिक वरीयता के मत प्राप्त हुए, इसलिए राष्ट्रपतीय और उपराष्ट्रपतीय निर्वाचन नियम 1974 के नियम 35 के साथ पठित राष्ट्रपतीय और उपराष्ट्रपतीय निर्वाचन अधिनियम 1952 की धारा 11 के अंतर्विष्ट उपबंधों के अनुसरण में मैं पीसी मोदी उपराष्ट्रपतीय निर्वाचन 2025 के निर्वाचन अधिकारी एतद् द्वारा घोषित करता हूं कि श्री सीपी राधाकृष्णन भारत के उपराष्ट्रपति के पद पर विधिवत निर्वाचित हुए हैं। धन्यवाद। पंद्रह 767। धन्यवाद।
So there you heard the returning officer of the 17th vice presidential election, the Secretary General of Rajya Sabha, Mr. P.C. Modi, informing the viewers about the result of the 17th presidential election, as per which Mr. C.P. Radhakrishnan, the NDA nominee, has been elected to the office of the vice president as he got 452 first preference votes. The opposition candidate, Justice Reddy, got 300 single preference votes. A total of 767 votes were cast before the closure of the poll. The total turnout being 98.2%. As you heard, the returning officer also announced that only one ballot box was used for the polls. But out of the 767 votes that were cast, 752 were valid. 15 of them were declared to be invalid. So as per the number of votes that were cast, the quota determined to elect the vice president was 377. The vice president-elect, Mr. C.P. Radhakrishnan, secured 452 votes. So that's a significant winning margin.
जी बिल्कुल टीना जी, ये जो आंकड़े हैं ये अपने में तस्वीर कह रहे हैं किस तरह से जो बीजेपी नेतृत्व, भाजपा के नेतृत्व वाला राष्ट्रीय जनतांत्रिक गठबंधन है, एनडीए के उम्मीदवार सीपी राधाकृष्णन, उन्होंने उपराष्ट्रपति का चुनाव में निर्वाचित घोषित किए गए हैं, चुनाव जीत लिया है। करीब 452 वोट उनको मिले हैं, जबकि विपक्ष के जो उम्मीदवार सुदर्शन रेड्डी थे उनको 300 वोट मिले हैं। जाहिर तौर पर जो मतों का आंकड़ा है, जो मतों का अंतर है, उसको लेकर कई तरह की पहलू उभर के सामने
that have been in favor of both candidates. Let me give our viewers a brief profile of the vice president elect, Mr. C.P. Radhakrishnan. He was born in Tamil Nadu's Tirupur. He completed his bachelor's degree in business administration and then he joined the RSS as a Swayam Sevak. He later became a state executive committee member of the Bharatiya Janasangh back in 1974. And then a little over 20 years later, he was appointed the secretary of the BJP in Tamil Nadu. Besides, he was elected to the Lok Sabha for the first time from Coimbatore. Remember, I just told you he is fondly known as the Vajpayee of Coimbatore because of his affable nature, his ability to reach out to leaders across party lines. He became a member of parliament from Coimbatore back in 1998 with a massive margin even that time, and then he was re-elected to the Lok Sabha in 1999. So then of course he's also served as governor of Jharkhand. He was currently the governor of Maharashtra when he was declared as the NDA nominee, and now he is the vice president elect. The 17th vice president election, as the returning officer informed, that it was conducted in a free and fair manner and a significant winning margin there for the NDA nominee. मनोज
जी बिल्कुल, अगर बात सीपी राधाकृष्णन की जाए तो उनका एक लंबा राजनीतिक कैरियर रहा है। जिस तरह से तमिलनाडु की राजनीति में एक साधारण भाजपा के कार्यकर्ता की हैसियत से उन्होंने अपने राजनीतिक सफर की शुरुआत की थी और कई पड़ाव को तय करते हुए आज उपराष्ट्रपति चुनाव में उन्हें विजय हासिल हुई है। जाहिर तौर पर एनडीए की जो रणनीति थी, भाजपा की जो रणनीति थी, चाहे वो दक्षिण भारत को ध्यान में रखकर रणनीति बनाई गई हो या एनडीए का गठबंधन को ध्यान में रख के रणनीति बनाई, वो कहीं ना कहीं मतों के अंतर को हम जब देख रहे हैं कि एक तरफ विपक्ष के जो उम्मीदवार हैं सुदर्शन रेड्डी, उनको 300 मत मिले हैं, जबकि जो एनडीए के उम्मीदवार सीपी राधाकृष्णन हैं उनको 452 मत मिले हैं इस चुनाव में। जाहिर तौर पर कहीं ना कहीं ये बताता है, ये दिखाता है कि किस तरह से गठबंधनों ने अपने अपनी पार्टी लाइन के अनुसार वोटिंग की है। टीना, इसमें
clearly, and you can see the winning candidate, the vice president elect, now being congratulated by members of the BJP. So the NDA going into this context clearly had the numbers in their favor. The election results clearly are on expected lines, but whether it's more than what the NDA expected is something that we will be discussing in due course of time with the guests who are joining us on the program virtually. But as we were informing you about the brief profile of Mr. C.P. Radhakrishnan, he dons many hats. Over 40 years, I told you, he served in many roles during his tenure as a member of parliament. He also served as chairman of the Parliamentary Standing Committee for Textiles. He was also a member of the Parliamentary Committee for Public Sector Undertakings and the Consultative Committee for Finance. Besides, he was a member of the Parliamentary Special Committee, which was investigating the stock exchange scam. In 2004, and this is something quite illustrious, Mr. Radhakrishnan happened to address the UN General Assembly as part of the parliamentary delegation, and he was also a member of the first parliamentary delegation that went to Taiwan. So an illustrious career there, spanning 4 decades in the political spectrum, and then he was appointed as the governor of Jharkhand back in February 2023. What's commendable is that within the first 4 months, I happened to come across this research, Manoj, goes on to show how proactive he was even as the governor. So when he was appointed in the first 4 months, he traveled to all 24 districts of Jharkhand, interacting with the citizens, the officials, gaining information about what their problems were, trying to find solutions. Then in 2016, he was appointed as the chairman of the COIR board in Kochi. In October 2024 is when he was appointed as the governor of Maharashtra, and now he is the vice president-elect. These are visuals from yesterday when the NDA Parliamentary Committee had met and when the Prime Minister had once again endorsed the candidature of Mr. C.P. Radhakrishnan, saying how his nomination has created a sort of or spurred enthusiasm among the NDA, and that they were very, very confident of his victory. So clearly the results in his favor, 452 votes is what he has secured. Mr. Singh, the result largely on expected lines, because we knew the NDA had the numbers going in the contest. But is this what the NDA also expected, or do you think the numbers are far beyond what even the NDA had expected? 452 as against 300, which the opposition candidate secured. Mr. Sanjay
Smile.
Yes.
The NDA has reasons to smile, to cheer, and to celebrate. Mr. Radhakrishnan, of course, is now vice president-elect. But more than that, the NDA got the numbers larger than their strength officially is in both houses of parliament. The NDA got 452 votes. And if you have seen a tweet by Mr. Jairam Ramesh, shortly after the voting was over, and there he says that all 315 members of opposition they voted, and that is 100% mark, and we stood united, so on and so forth. That was a notch below than what the victory that we're claiming, but still 315, the number he said we had 315, which means that all 315 should have voted for Mr. Sudarshan Reddy. That did not happen. The opposition got only 300 votes, which means 15 votes, 15 MPs from their rank did not vote for Mr. Sudarshan Reddy. Instead, they voted for Mr. C.P. Radhakrishnan. That is something that was, as I had said in the beginning, my curiosity will be as to how many votes, perhaps more than the actual strength of NDA, will be polled to Mr. C.P. Radhakrishnan. That exactly what has happened. The floor management of the BJP, the NDA, is par excellence, as we have seen in case of several contentious bills and in past elections in vice president and president, and this has repeated yet again. I think questions will be asked more than after celebrations and or along with the celebrations that Mr. Jairam Ramesh, did he got into bit of hurry to say the numbers 315 and not getting 315, instead getting 300. So that will be something which will be talked about.
जी संजय जी, मैं इस पे और जानना आपसे चाहूंगा, क्योंकि खेल पूरा जो जिस तरह से मतगणना के बाद जो परिणाम सामने आए हैं उसमें कहीं ना कहीं ये दिखाता है कि एनडीए को उसकी उम्मीद से अधिक वोट मिले हैं, जबकि जो विपक्षी गठबंधन है, जो कांग्रेस का गठबंधन है, उसके उम्मीदवार सुदर्शन रेड्डी जी को उम्मीद से कम वोट मिले हैं। तो जो एनडीए के वोट बढ़े हैं, क्योंकि जो मेरे आंकड़ों के अनुसार लगभग 425 के आसपास का एक आंकड़ा था, लेकिन 452 वोट मिले हैं सीपी राधाकृष्णन जी को। यह कहीं ना कहीं दिखाता है कि राधाकृष्णन जी को एनडीए और जो दूसरे क्षेत्रीय दल हैं, जो दूसरे दल हैं, उनसे भी वोट उनको मिला है। एक ये संकेत देता है। दूसरी तरफ विपक्ष के खेमे में कहीं ना कहीं जरूर सवाल उठेगा, जैसा आपने कहा, जयराम रमेश जी ने यह दावा किया था कि 315 वोट हमें मिलेंगे या पड़े हैं। आप कैसे देखते हैं इसको?
देखिए, ये बड़ा ही एक इंटरेस्टिंग सा सिचुएशन है। मैं ये कहूंगा कि एनडीए की जो संख्या थी, जो उनका स्ट्रेंथ था, उससे ज्यादा उनको वोट मिले हैं, और ये पिछले कई चुनावों में हमने देखा वो उनका इस तरह का मैनेजमेंट है। दूसरी तरफ आपने देखा होगा कि ये चुनाव के पहले जिस समय बीआरएस और बीजेडी इन लोगों ने कहा कि हम चुनाव में पार्टिसिपेट एब्सटेन करेंगे, उस समय में जिस तरह की कांग्रेस की तरफ से प्रतिक्रिया आई थी, वो प्रतिक्रिया, क्योंकि वो भी विपक्ष के सदस्य हैं, और जिस तरह की प्रतिक्रिया आई थी, मुझे लगता है कि और जितनी सघन और जितनी तीखी थी, वो शायद अवांछनीय थी, क्योंकि ये एक दिन का सौदा नहीं है। इसके बाद हाउस भी चलेगा, और आप कुछ पार्टियों के साथ, जो विपक्ष में पार्टियां हैं, जो अपोजिशन बेंचेस पे बैठती हैं, उनके साथ आप अपने रिश्ते को इस कदर खराब करते हैं। बीजेडी एक ऐसी पार्टी है जो विपक्ष में बैठती है, लेकिन मुद्दों के आधार पे वो किसी इशू पे सरकार को समर्थन करती है या नहीं करती है, या संसद में बीच में वेल में आकर के कभी शोर शराबा या पार्लियामेंट्री प्रोसीडिंग्स को डिस्टर्ब नहीं करती। एक चीज ये है। दूसरी चीज है कि जब आप जिस समय में कहते हैं कि हमारा आइडिया ऑफ इंडिया की लड़ाई थी, और जब आप ये जल्दीबाजी कर जाते हैं कि हमारे 315 100% हमारे लोग वहां प्रेजेंट रहे, तो आप अपने लोग को जब समझा नहीं पाते, तो फिर दूसरे की बात आप क्या करेंगे कि अब इस समय में क्या दलील उनकी तरफ से आएगी, वो देखना बहुत इंटरेस्टिंग होगा। लेकिन ये हमेशा से एक्सपेक्टेड था कि जो एनडीए की संख्या है उससे ज्यादा बढ़ करके वोट होगा उनके पक्ष में, सीपी राधाकृष्णन साहब के पक्ष में और सुदर्शन रेड्डी के साहब के पक्ष में। जितना कहा जा रहा है, जो संख्या दिख रही है मतलब कागज पे, और जितना दावा किया जा रहा है, उससे कम सीटें, कम वोट्स उनको मिलेंगी। ये कुछ दिन तक ये चर्चा होगी, और ये चर्चा इसलिए भी होगी जब किसी चीज को आप काफी एक ऊंचाई पे लेकर के जाते हैं और उसको विचारधारा से जोड़ते हैं और तमाम चीजों से जोड़ते हैं। देखिए मनोज जी, विचारधारा के बारे में सुदर्शन रेड्डी साहब को जब खड़ा किया गया और उनके जो प्रोनाउंसमेंट थे, उसको लेकर के काफी एक डिबेट हो चुकी है ऑलरेडी, कि आपकी विचारधारा और किस तरह की विचारधारा के लोग को आप आगे बढ़ाना चाहते हैं। और अब जो ये है कि आप जो संख्या प्रोजेक्ट कर रहे थे, और शाम में दिन में मतलब जो क्लेम किया गया तमाम नेताओं के द्वारा, मल्लिकार्जुन खड़गे के द्वारा या बाकी उम्मीदवार तो स्वयं कहता ही है, या बाकी लोगों के द्वारा, और शाम में जो प्रतिक्रिया उनकी तरफ से वो संख्या का एक नंबर दिया गया, तो उसके बाद ये चर्चा होगी और उनको इस पे कुछ जवाब देना थोड़ी मुश्किलात होगी।
So clearly, the opposition leader Jairam Ramesh did indicate that 315 votes were cast in favor of the opposition candidate. 15 votes have also been declared invalid. So whose votes have been declared invalid is something the details will trickle in after some time. But for now, the results have been, of course, giving a lot of reason to the NDA to rejoice and celebrate. Even though they had the numbers, the kind of winning margin that is now coming in, 452 compared to the 300 votes that the opposition candidate secured, is something that, of course, the NDA also would not have expected. Cross-voting definitely has happened. So this will be, of course, a case of introspection as well for the opposition camp, something that Mr. Singh spoke about. But Professor Roy, what a remarkable conclusion to the 17th vice presidential election. India has just got its 15th vice president. Even though it was the 17th vice presidential election, Mr. C.P. Radhakrishnan will be the 15th vice president of India, the world's largest democracy, the second highest constitutional post to be precise. But what's interesting is, out of these vice presidents that India has had, 7 of them happen to be from the southern part of the country. How symbolic is this, and what kind of messaging does that give, not just for the NDA, but for the larger representation, especially when it comes to the constitutional posts, Professor Roy?
Rightly said, and as we had discussed already, that the message is for the Tamil Nadu and 4 states of South India, that we care for you, number one. But this is equally a message that we have not discussed to the opposition, that if you try to run the election, including the vice presidential election, through these NGOs, the non-governmental organizations, and in the model of Arvind Kejriwal in the initial stage, 2013-14, or if the Congress is trying to run the strategy or trying to run the party through NGOs and the feedbacks, in message of idea of India, that the secularism, that the democracy, etc., kind of the metaphors or the jargons that they keep on using in the political discourse, in the public discourse, and how they have been losing one after another. So they have to better come out of this mindset of running the political party or trying to win the elections through the NGOs and the left extremist kind of, or the tyranny of the unelected, with once Arun Jaitley Sahab said in the parliament or outside parliament. That kind of mindset they must come out of if they want to win the election. This is a serious message to them, that what they claimed and what they got, this is one message. It was already determined that more than the numbers of the NDA alliance it commanded, the seats were going to come more than it commanded, and the election results has proved that. I was simply waiting for the election results to confirm my own calculations, which the election results had confirmed. Thirdly, the message is that the Raj Sabha, whether that will be run the way the opposition wants or the way the NDA wants, because where the consensus issues will be there, can we expect a kind of, you can say, a ruling which will decide the course of the future debates? We have seen in case of Dhankar Sahab that the opposition has put charges on them that he is not fair enough in running the Raj Sabha. Can now, with this kind of candidature and the vice president-elect, the opposition will have once again the same kind of allegations and the charges, because the man, as you have said, is the Vajpayee of South India in Tamil Nadu, and it should be acceptable to all. But let's see for future how he runs the Raj Sabha, and I hope that it should be acceptable to the opposition as well.
Clearly, I think that's the biggest strength that Mr. Radhakrishnan will be bringing as chairman of the Rajya Sabha in conducting the proceedings of the upper house. Mr. Singh, you said it first, that he is somebody who's away from controversies, and we saw that even just ahead of the vice presidential election. So while there were allegations made at the opposition candidate, there was no such allegation, no controversy as far as the NDA nominee was concerned. He has an impeccable career earlier a clean record. No controversy has erupted or has surfaced as far as Mr. Radhakrishnan is concerned. He is known for his affable nature, especially in reaching out or building consensus across party lines, and that's what earned him the moniker of Vajpayee of Coimbatore. Do you expect that his reputation as a consensus builder to help reduce disruptions, improve productivity going forward in the upper house, the House of Elders?
Mr. Radhakrishnan there as chairman of the Rajya Sabha, and with Harivansh as deputy chairman of Rajya Sabha. Harivansh also has a great track record and has been conducting the House well. So we as citizens of the country will certainly expect that some sense of order, they'll convince the opposition to allow some sense of greater responsibility to prevail in the ranks, in opposition ranks, and the House functions orderly. There are two aspects to this question. A, the way the chair conducts the House, the chairman conduct the House, and take opposition leaders in confidence, and B, on part of political parties, how they cooperate with the chair or with the chairman. That again is very important. If some people come with preconceived notions on that particular morning or during the session or about the person concerned, then of course there is going to be problem. But then the chairman's roles comes into picture, because there are a whole lot of issues where the chair goes by the precedents set by their predecessors in the past, the proceedings in the House, and also drawn from various debates, constituent assembly debates, proceedings also at times of Lok Sabha and of other countries, and to try and build a consensus on issues. We have also seen that on too many occasions when a consensus was built in the Business Advisory Committee, and where representatives of all political parties are present, in presence of which chairman, of course, and deputy chairman being there, and thereafter violating those agreements that were done in the Business Advisory Committee. Since Mr. Radhakrishnan, by his training and by his personality, is an accessible person, is somebody who anybody can relate to and communicate to. So we can certainly expect that it would be the opposition to begin with will have somebody who is temperamentally very affable, very conciliatory, to talk to have a discussion, and to have a kind of a dialogue with the chairman. And therefore, I would hope that in times to come, we surely will see, would like to see that sense of order prevails in the House.
जी संजय जी, अगर बात की जाए, जैसा हर चुनाव का अपना एक संदेश होता है, उसके अपने सामाजिक समीकरण भी होते हैं, राष्ट्रीय समीकरण भी होते हैं, दलों के समीकरण भी होते हैं, कई पहलू दूसरे भी होते हैं। अगर इस चुनाव परिणाम को हम देखें, उपराष्ट्रपति पद के लिए चुनाव हुआ, उसमें एनडीए उम्मीदवार जिस तरह से 452 मतों के साथ इसमें निर्वाचित हुए हैं, इसके आप संदेश क्या देखते हैं, सामाजिक रूप से, राजनीतिक रूप से, और अगर राष्ट्रीय रूप से मैं बात करूं तो कैसे आप उन संदेशों को देख रहे हैं?
देखिए, पहला तो ये कि एनडीए और सीपी राधाकृष्णन साहब धन्यवाद देंगे सुदर्शन रेड्डी जी को, क्योंकि उन्होंने कहा था कि अंतरात्मा की आवाज के हिसाब से वोट कीजिए, पार्टी लाइन के हिसाब से वोट मत कीजिए। और जो एमपीज ऑपोजिशन रैंक में थे, उन्होंने अपनी अंतरात्मा को सुनी और अपने पार्टी नेताओं की नहीं सुनी, और इसलिए उनको ज्यादा वोट पड़े, जो एनडीए का स्ट्रेंथ था उससे ज्यादा। तो पहला आभार तो उनको जाएगा कि उन्होंने ये आवाज लगाई। दूसरी चीज ये है कि जिस चीज की आप बात कर रहे हैं, और जिस चीज की पहले वो टीना बता रही थी कि 7 दक्षिण भारत से हमारे उपराष्ट्रपति आए, तो हमारे देश की एक जो लार्जर वो है पिक्चर है, हमारा देश, मतलब ऐसे आप नॉर्थ और साउथ में डिवाइड करके देखते हैं, मतलब कोलोकियली ऐसा कहा जाता है, कई लोग ऐसा नहीं मानते, लेकिन ये भी है कि रीजनल रिप्रेजेंटेशन भी काफी इंपॉर्टेंट चीज होता है, वरना एक समय के बाद एक जगह के लोग अपने आप को उपेक्षित महसूस करते हैं, और इस समय और भी इस तरह की चीजें होनी ज्यादा जरूरी थी। तीसरा एक चीज और है कि किसी भी हाईएस्ट पोस्ट पे देश का जो भी राष्ट्रपति, उपराष्ट्रपति, प्रधानमंत्री और इस तरह के जो भी पद हैं, या प्रदेश का गवर्नर या किसी प्रदेश के मुख्यमंत्री जो हाल में कई जगह पे बने हैं, हमारा देश एक डायनेस्टिक सिस्टम की लीक से आगे बढ़ करके किसी और दिशा में जा रहा है, जो जनतंत्र का और डेमोक्रेसी का मूल स्वरूप होता है कि कोई भी व्यक्ति कहीं का भी अपने कर्म के बल पे किसी भी पद पे पहुंच सकता है, जो हाईएस्ट पोस्ट है। दूसरी चीज ये है, तीसरी चीज ये है कि आप जब ऐसे व्यक्ति को सेलेक्ट करते हैं जो नॉन कंट्रोवर्शियल हैं और सुचिता जिनका एक जीवन का मार्ग है, तो आप ऐसा भी एक मैसेज देते हैं कि राजनीति में एक क्रेडिबिलिटी जो चीज होती है, जिसको हम कहते हैं, वो काफी इंपॉर्टेंट चीज होती है और इसकी एक मान्यता होनी चाहिए। साथ में मैं एक चीज और भी कहूंगा कि जिस समय में ये कहा जाता है कि इसमें पॉलिटिक्स मत घुसेरिए, देखिए जो लोग राज सत्ता चलाते हैं, पॉलिटिकल लीडरशिप हो चाहे गवर्नमेंट में, क्योंकि जिस समय गवर्नमेंट होती है पॉलिटिकल लीडरशिप, वो पॉलिटिकल लोग होते हैं, पॉलिटिकल पार्टी से आते हैं। गवर्नेंस की 70% जो चीजें हैं वो आपकी पार्टी की आइडियोलॉजी से गाइडेड नहीं होती, आपकी इफिशिएंसी से गाइडेड होती है। 30% चीजें ऐसी होती हैं जो किसी पर्टिकुलर आइडियोलॉजी से गाइडेड होती हैं और उसका एक लार्जर इम्प्लीकेशन होता है। लेकिन वहां पे फर्क तब पड़ता है जब आप किसी चीज में लाइकेडाइजिकल हो जाते हैं या सुस्त होते हैं या आप काम नहीं करना चाहते, तो उसको आप एक राजनीति का रंग देते हैं। तो इस केस में अगर राजनीतिक लोग निर्णय कर रहे हैं कि राष्ट्रपति या उपराष्ट्रपति का उम्मीदवार इस केस में कौन होगा, तो उसके अंदर निश्चित रूप से एक राजनीतिक सोच होती है। तो हाउस चलाना वो एक अपनी अलग बात होती है, उसके अंदर ये सोच होती है। और इस मामले में जैसे मान लीजिए कि आपने एक दक्षिण का एक रीजनल रिप्रेजेंटेशन दिया, दूसरे ये है कि एक मैसेज ये भी काफी समय से जो एक बहुतायत बीजेपी का समर्थक वर्ग है उसको लग रहा था कि जो क्रिटिकल पोस्ट हैं इस तरह के, वो अगर हमारे अंदर के व्यक्ति को दिया जाए तो ज्यादा अच्छा होगा बनिस्बत की बाद में किसी तरह की कोई कंट्रोवर्सी जो मतलब इनएडवर्टेंटली खड़ी हो जाती है उसके मुताबिक। जी एक वो भी थी, लेकिन उसमें एनडीए के जितने घटक दल थे और उससे ज्यादा जो वोट आए सीपी राधाकृष्णन साहब को, उसका मैनेजमेंट एक लार्जर मैसेजिंग है कि हम किस तरह की राजनीति करते हैं और किस तरह से हम लोगों का मतलब अलग पार्टियों को अपनी बात से कन्विंस कर सकते हैं।
Definitely, and the strengths that Mr. Radhakrishnan, the 15th Vice President of India, will bring, especially in his role as the chairman of the Rajya Sabha, is something that we will continue to talk about. Meanwhile, congratulatory messages have begun to pour in for the Vice President-elect. Home Minister Amit Shah took to social media platform X. He congratulated Mr. Radhakrishnan on being elected as the Vice President of India. He said, and I'm going to quote, "I firmly believe that your sagacity as a leader who's risen from the grassroots of the society and profound knowledge about administration will help us in bringing out the best in our parliamentary democracy to serve the marginalized. I extend my warmest wishes to you for your journey as the custodian of the sanctity of the upper house." So we will continue talking to the guests on these lines, but we'll slip into a short break for now. Manoj and I will join you after a quick break. We'll continue to talk about the rich career, the illustrious career of Mr. Radhakrishnan, but now going forward, his role as the Vice President and the ex officio chairman of the Rajya Sabha. We'll be right back.